Hey, this is going to be fun. Welcome, everybody, to BBN Live, presented by ECoach. I'm your host, Tom Hart, for the day, and we're talking Kentucky football, and we're talking about maybe the best team in school history. What better way to do that than to bring in the guys who made it all happen? Because everybody's stuck at home right now. Everybody wants to talk ball. We got Mark Stoops, Josh Allen, Lonnie Johnson Jr. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. This is awesome. What a way to connect. Let's start with you, Coach Stoops. Number one, how are you dealing with this? And does this fit your personality to be cooped up? Or are you anxious to get out and get stuff done?
No, it's very strange, Tom. Just like everybody in the country, but it's very strange times. Um, Much like yourself, the two players, Josh and Lonnie, that are with us, we're used to getting up and going all day, every day, and so definitely an adjustment period to hit the pause button a little bit, do the best we can with meetings on Zoom and staying in contact with our players and our coaches and recruits. But definitely a very strange time.
Josh, let's sneak over to you real quick. How do you prepare for your second year in the league, and what kind of communication do you have with the team in this kind of odd time?
I mean, right now they just focus on everybody being safe, everybody staying home right now. But God willing, I got a gym in my house, and I work out there probably like almost every day. I got a little speed ladders, and so I do a little agility drills myself at the house. But like communication wise, my coach calls me once in a while just to see how I'm doing and just to make sure that I'm still up to my studies on the plays and all that. So I'm starting to get a little bit to it, but it's so hard, because I got the family here and I got to focus. So it's definitely a challenging time, but it's a thankful time for us.
I want to get back to the family part in just a minute with all three of you guys. But Lonnie, this is a big year, man. I mean, you remember what you were doing to prepare for the league last year. Now that you got a taste of it, what do you need to do to improve? And are you limited in that respect in terms of getting the work in that you feel is necessary to take that next step this year?
I mean, we definitely limited with getting in the type of work we need to get in, but I turn my garage into a gym, and then basically I still work out with a guy named Rashad Winfield, Footwork King. We just been going out there and getting in footwork drills and anything to keep my feet ready and ready to go. So just try to go one on one with him and get my work in still, but also getting my work in the garage too.
Lonnie, remind me before we're done. I want to go back to Footwork King and one of the more recent Wildcats that he's been working with and what it looks like next for our friend Lynn Bowden, because I think that's a fascinating story in this time. Coach, we go back to perhaps the greatest team in Kentucky history with these guys. And from a 30,000-foot view, I guess what struck me about that team were two things. Number one, it's one of the most beloved teams I've ever seen in any sport, in any school. It just the fans glommed onto these guys. And number two, the development, whether you're talking about these two guys on the screen with us or the rest of the team, to the growth within the program to reach that point with the Citrus Bowl win. Can you point to one thing about that team or one group of guys that said this made the difference in development?
I think you touched on it. They're beloved and will go down as one of the greatest teams ever because of their personalities, because of their work ethic, because of who they are. And these two guys right here were a major part of that. And both have different stories, but both have overcome so much, so many hardships in their life, going back to the early days, and they have great stories. And they came here, they bought into a belief, and more importantly, they united with each other. And going into that season, nobody really gave us much of a chance, but we did. We did. We knew we had good football players. We knew we had leaders. Nobody knew in the outside world what we were doing within the confines of our building. And we had a great belief. I remember going down to SEC Media Days. You were down there, and I was very confident, and because I believed in these guys, and that's just the truth. They represented us the right way. They worked so hard. They were fun to coach. They had big personalities. They still do. and but they were grown. I remember, many things, but Lonnie, just thinking about Lonnie out loud, uh, during one of those games, like he was like just stood up and was like, guys, we are grown ass men, and we're going to bring it to this team right now. And that's the truth. I remember that comment. Like we were, these guys were mature. They've been through a lot, and they were seasoned. They were tough. They were tested, and they believed in each other. And there's a lot of great memories, but it was an awful lot of fun. I promise you that. And again, the legacy that they leave, with the Citrus Bowl, because these two guys right here had every right, and nobody would have criticized them had they decided to go off and prepare for the NFL and make money to support their family for the rest of their lives. And I told them both that this is your decision. Your legacy is set, and whatever's right for you, you do. But they chose to come play for their team and for the fan base, and that's the truth. That's why they're special, and that's why they'll have great careers for a long time.
Lonnie, do you remember that moment the coach was talking about where you made that comment to your teammates?
Yeah, I don't remember what game it was actually, but I remember saying that. I think it was like right before the game he calls on us and we usually stand up, say what we got to say. And I remember saying that. I just don't remember what game. I hope it was the Florida game. I don't remember though, but I hope.
I'm just saying, I don't remember the game, but I remember having a great confidence in him and this team because of the way they felt about each other. And you know what? He was right. They were a bunch of grown men and played that way. We weren't perfect, but they played their tail off.
You could sense the confidence growing in that team game to game and month to month throughout the season. But Josh, I got to think that probably that confidence, if it wasn't innate in individual players, guys like you who developed and got better year after year, that the confidence grew. Is that an accurate assumption?
It definitely is, and just being around great people, especially if influenced me to do better and play for them, especially for like Lonnie, Mike, Benny, all those guys, man. I just wanted to go out there and perform for them boys as much as they did for me. And plus, we all have families. We all had situations that we were fighting extra hard for. I had mine. Lonnie had his. Benny, Mike, Chris. Everybody had their motivation. We just all put it to one, and we just made a bond that couldn't be broken. And it definitely made it fun to play for them guys every game.
Definitely.
We talked about this team being beloved. Josh, did you get that feeling? And when did you kind of start to get that feedback from the fan base, which is, such a unique fan base that seemed to glom onto you guys and embrace football like they never had before?
Uh, I mean, after the Florida game, it was pretty, it started to get pretty high for me. But not until the Mississippi State and South Carolina week, like those two back-to-back games, that's when like the fans just went crazy over me, and that's when the national media started to really pay attention to what we had, and I never took credit for myself, never. I always spread the love, because I didn't do it by myself. I always think the DBs right before I made a play. I'll just tell the DBs, just give me a couple seconds. Say, give me this, give me that, I got you.
Yeah.
And then they get it, they did what they need to do, and I made plays, and thankful for them and Boogie and all those other guys, man. I'm so thankful for them.
Lonnie, you started to react to that. Those moments where Josh would say, "Hey, just give me a minute. Give me a step. Give me two steps."
I don't know, a
What
couple
kind of
seconds.
confidence
You
did you
got
guys have?
it.
Hey, say that again, Tom.
Well, I mean, that takes great confidence as a unit, right? I mean, he's going to do his job. He knows you're going to do your job, and it's gonna work.
Right. I mean, definitely. Like he used to say that almost every game. Just he'd come back there to the huddle to the DBs like, man, just give me a couple of seconds. Like I'm get the sack for y'all. Just give me a couple of seconds, or just give me a couple of seconds to get back there, and I had him throw the ball up. So it was just him working with us, and we was working with him. You know what I'm saying? It just was a great team overall. We all gelled together. We all had motivation. A lot of people, like Coach Stoops said, slept on us in the beginning. Even I think probably some of the fans as well. And then once we beat Florida, it just took off from there. It was just like, can't nobody beat us. We don't want to be beaten. Like whoever we played, we were just going at it with whoever.
Yeah, it was amazing. That was kind of the monkey off the back moment, obviously. Lonnie, Coach referenced that you all have these incredible stories. They're both stories of growth and setbacks and getting around, over, and through hazards that have fallen in your life. Where do you start when you tell your story to people who don't know about you and don't know your journey?
I would basically start in the end of my high school career. When I was committed to Ohio State, I was supposed to go to a big school. Didn't qualify. Had to go to JUCO. End up doing 3 years in JUCO. You supposed to do 2 years, and I started in California JUCO. Then went to Kansas JUCO. So I just been all all across the United States, just trying to get my dream. And then I was with Kentucky in the beginning. And then how they came back full circle, came back to get me, and I finally qualified. And I was nervous when I came to Kentucky because I didn't know if I was like legit like a D1 prospect finally. And then when Coach Stoops and I think Brez had came in, was like, you qualify, you good to go, like you are a Kentucky Wildcat. And I just broke down like at the house that same day because I was like, I finally made it. So now it's time to work. So
I don't mean to simplify, because nobody who's alive today, generally speaking, has been through what this world and what our nation is going through.
right.
But I find it interesting that you had to work so hard to get to several points in your life from a playing perspective. That drive, that work ethic, do you feel that that pays off in a scenario like today where it's on you? It's not on anybody else to pull you through. It's on you to get to where you need to be successful.
I mean, you can ask any one of these guys on the screen right now. Some of the younger guys at Kentucky still hit me up today and tell me like they appreciate how I did things and how they seen what I did my time at Kentucky because I only had 2 years, so I felt like I didn't have no time to waste. So even after practice, I'll work out, or before sometimes I like do drills and stuff. I do stuff all the time on my own. So Josh did his own thing, workouts by himself. It was always us doing it by ourselves. We never really counted on anybody. That's why we were so good.
I
You
know
know,
Coach
Tom,
is always thinking recruiting, right, Coach? And you can point to these two guys as guys who came from different ways and now have earned the respect of everybody and at a place to realize their dreams, even though they came from different backgrounds and worked their way up differently.
no doubt. That's what I want to comment on with these two guys. And it's not just because we're sitting here doing this show and talking about them. It's because it's the truth. These two had an unbelievable drive, an unbelievable work ethic, and they've come so far. But it comes from that personal drive within themselves. I have speakers come all the time, and I don't want to steal this quote, but it came from Jacob Tammy, and us coaches say it a lot of different ways. But when he came and spoke to this group just prior to their last year, it was a saying that we use and put in our building all the time. They're personally responsible for their own outcome, and I love that. And Jacob came and gave that message to our team, and I thought it was so appropriate because it's my job, and I take great pride in putting great people around them, putting every resource humanly possible in front of them to be successful. These guys will tell you that I care about them, and I want to put great people around them. I want to give them everything they can, but ultimately they're responsible for their outcome. And these two guys did that, and that's why they are where they are. They took great pride in putting in that work, and that has to come from within. You don't make it to the NFL because there's some great coaches around you or something. You make it to the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball because they have a personal drive within themselves, and obviously the talent's there. But that's what I'm so proud about these guys is that they were very, very driven. Different stories, but a lot the same in a lot of ways. When Josh made the decision, I remember that conversation we had. When he came into my office, he said, Kate's pregnant. And he said, Coach, it's on. Like, don't even worry about me. And that's the truth. That a lot of people say those things. but how many people follow through with it? From that moment on, I saw a change in him, and I saw the way he went about his business every day. When everybody was home, spring breaks, different things, he was always there working. And Lonnie, much the same. Lonnie could probably go back to a time when he and I would go at it and he'd get mad at me, but he was always driven. But there were some habits that we had to change. It was my responsibility to give him the medicine to be as good as he possibly could and find different ways to poke him to make sure he stayed motivated and stayed with an edge. But he was always driven, always, from day one. And when you have guys like that that come in, that goes back to the selection process. If you got guys that are hungry, then you have a chance. And that's what I'm most proud of these guys and so many more. I mean, you go back to that team and Benny Snell. I mean, that guy was just driven. He was driven. He was very self-motivated. Darius West, Mike Edwards. Just I could go on and on. Those guys were just great individuals and very driven people.
Josh, you've got so many benchmarks now in your life and in your football life. Now that you've got your rookie year under your belt, um, you look back on the success you had and what's next. How do you view how Kentucky prepared you for being a pro?
I feel like ever since I got on to campus, I felt like they were molding me. They were trying to get me to be who I want to be and who I needed to be. And I just felt like, just as a family, I felt close. I felt like Coach Stoops was a really close family member, and I loved him. And I just felt like playing for him and just playing for myself and having the right motivations and doing good in school, which is something I was never good at. But when I decided to commit to being successful, I took that step and trying to be good for my son, for my teammates, and for my brothers. And it's so much that I can really say, but I don't know. It's just so much. It's just so much, man. It's hard to really explain that because that question was real deep to me, of what Kentucky's did for me and what the coaches and the players has impacted my life to where I see myself today. I would never thought I could be in my house. I never thought I could play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but just being around great people, man, just motivated me just to be where I am today, man. I'm so thankful for that. But
Right.
just being around them, man, it's unbelievable.
Life changes all of us. Fatherhood impacts all of us. It has. And I'm going to swing back to that before we're done here today. But uh, Lonnie, what do you tell guys, whether in the Kentucky program or otherwise, that haven't reached where you are yet, and they ask you, what does it mean to be a pro? Like, where do you start with that to help others realize their dream and what you've realized?
I pretty much I tell people the truth all the time. Like I'm not gonna ever sugarcoat nothing with you. If you a guy that's got the NFL dream but don't want to put in the work to get there, then I'm gonna tell you that the dream probably is not gonna happen for real. But I tell guys straight up though, like you gotta put in the work. You gotta make sure you listen to what Coach Stoops is telling you and going to class on time and showing up early and little things like that helps with all being a bigger man, a better man, a better pro, and stuff, just stuff like that. So I just pretty much just try to tell them the truth.
What was what were the playoffs like? I mean, you having a
Man,
chance to taste the playoffs as a rookie.
man, well, Josh don't know nothing about the playoffs, but I mean, I mean,
All
but
right, all right,
but the
all right.
the playoffs is definitely different from the regular season. A lot of guys, everybody is out there giving it 100% all the time. I mean, it is no plays off. It's like it's faster. Um, they come up with different types of schemes to than the regular season that you probably seen on film is totally different in the playoffs. So you're not gonna see the same thing. I don't know, man. The playoffs is just tough, man. It's tough. The fans are wild. It's a real rough place.
I want to shift gears just a little bit for all you guys. We're all dads out there. We're dealing with, the uncertainty of this virus. And Josh, I know you got two little ones in the house, right? You got a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old. What's life like in your house right now? Like, I'm shocked that it's so quiet in there, to be perfectly honest with you.
Uh, I mean, it's definitely no time off to yourself anymore because I feel like when one sleeps, the other one's up, and like I try to give Kate her time and her space, because she needs it. So I try to take whichever one's up, and now that the viruses I can't even take Wesley to the park, so we just got to swim all day and but it's definitely we're definitely finding a lot to do, a lot of arts and crafts now, a lot of he works out with me. He's about to get right. Coach Stoops offered him a scholarship when he was born, so that's still on the table. Uh, but it's definitely fun, man. It's I'm definitely missing meetings, and I'm definitely missing watching film. I tell you that, but it's great just to calm down for football, and just to be a father, just to be a husband, and just to get our priorities straight. And it's definitely a humble experience.
Tom,
Coach, what's it like?
you know,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I have a good eye for talent, as you know. I picked up these two guys, and when I saw Wesley was picking himself up and practically walking at what, Josh? Like, I mean, it seemed like 2 months old. I mean, he
Yeah,
was almost as tall as the table at about 2 or 3 months and
you
picking
know,
himself up, walking around. He's an amazing athlete, so
you know, I,
I wasn't offering him pretty early.
hey coach, I don't like to brag in them, but we took it to the pediatrician the other day. He's still in the 98 percentile and everything, so he's definitely
Yeah,
a big one. He's definitely a big one.
doesn't
Man,
He's definitely
surprise
a little wild now. So
Lonnie,
it's
you
fun.
got the family life going on, and you guys have a big date in the very near future in July where your wedding
me.
is scheduled down in South Florida. What are the
On time.
expectations? First of all, congratulations. But now, like, as the man in this relationship, like, what are you responsible for? Are you just supposed to show up and be there, or are you going through wedding planning? How's that working?
man, at first during the season, like I wasn't so much involved in it. Because I was so focused on the season, so focused on being a better corner out there. But once the season ended, I got a chance to come out there and just basically do all the planning and learn everything that she was doing. It's a tough job, man. It's definitely a tough job. Her being a full-time mom with that too, that's definitely a tough job. Taking trips to Miami just to set up stuff, and then we got to go back when this stuff calmed down just to taste food, and now we're gonna be in a Russian state, so it's like, man, it's real tough right now, for real.
I feel for you having to do all the food tastings. Just make sure you keep working out when you taste all the cake. All right.
I don't even eat cake. That's the thing, like I don't eat cake at all, so it's like she's making me eat the cake on the wedding day, so I haven't ate cake in 12 years.
Coach, we're talking about these guys' personal lives. Like, what's it like for you when you're not working, when you're not having staff meetings, even though everybody's
Yeah.
separated? What's keeping you busy?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I told Lonnie off air earlier, but tell Selena I'll be there. God willing, this thing gets lifted. I'll be at that wedding. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Selena tie the knot there in July. It's about time, Lonnie. You need to. uh, as far as me, it's a very strange time. Obviously, it's a great time to catch up and spend time with family. Before all the restrictions on travel, I did have an opportunity to go to Florida and spend some time with Chantel and the kids, and caught me some redfish right off the beach, right from the beach. It was pretty amazing. My oldest boy and I, we've been trying to be fishermen for a while. We may catch some bluegill and some bass once in a while, but to catch it right off the shore was pretty cool. While we were able to do that, you're obviously not allowed to do it now. But, so that's been good. As far as work, it's a very strange time. Coaches are so used to getting up and going all day, every day. And I struggle with sitting still. But we've had to some extent. And I guess that's a good thing. You have to take the positives with that. As far as with our staff, we connect on Zoom, we connect on conference calls. Been in touch with our administration quite a bit on conference calls. Our players, coaches are meeting with players on Zoom, which has been very effective. That's helped quite a bit. And just trying to stay busy as best we can, connecting with recruits on FaceTime and talking with them. So doing the best we can, trying to stay ahead of it. But just like everybody, you have to catch yourself once in a while and just realize that this is affecting everybody. And we need to do our part. I'm trying to do the best I can in our community to help people, to be a positive influence and connect and help people as best I can in our community. But it starts with taking care of myself and making sure my family's safe and our players. Just constant communication with our players to do the same, to work out, to take care of their academics, but also do the things necessary to stay safe and keep their families safe. So very strange time. But tell me somebody that's not inconvenienced right now. We all are. And just got to do the best we can.
A lot of changes currently, a lot of changes in the near future, including the NFL draft. It's going to be a virtual draft. Tell me, we'll start with Coach Stoops, Lynn Bowden, Logan Stenberg. What do you expect of those guys once we get to draft day and their opportunities?
Well, what I expect is the same that these two did, is to step right in and be able to contribute. They both are very good football players. They're both going to make some team better. There's no doubt about that. You look at Lynn and you look at what he did, what we asked him to do this past season after we had 3 quarterbacks injured, and the way he stepped in and did that was truly remarkable. The intelligence that he has. He's a very, very bright player and very instinctual and, very versatile. That's why he won the Paul Hornung Award. I think if you look at the pro game and the way the influence of some college plays and schemes and things that are going on is trickling up to the NFL, you have a guy like that could bring so much to your team, both at receiver. You could put him in there in the Wildcat and he could do some amazing things because of what he can handle mentally. He's very, very bright. And so he's going to have a bright future. Really proud of the growth that he's made. Logan Stenberg, he's been solid as a rock for years. And he's a guy that will play a long, long time because he's big, he's strong, he's nasty. He's exactly what you want in your interior offensive line. And so very proud of Logan. He's a big, strong guy. And again, very bright, does things right. He's been a great teammate and, really excited about him in his future.
Two guys individually driven, like you all talked about earlier. Lonnie, I assume, this is an assumption on my part, you can tell me I'm wrong here, but I assume that you've seen Lynn work out a little bit getting ready for the draft, because I saw his videos, I think, through your Twitter feed. What are you seeing from him? What have you seen in those workouts as he works towards draft day?
He definitely driven. Lynn is like a little brother to me. We signed with the same agency. He seen me working out with the guy Footwork King, and he decided to come to Houston and work out with him for like a week. I just see his growth. He's gonna grow real fast in this league, and I think he's gonna be a problem with whatever team he goes to. He's so versatile. He can do a lot of things. He can do what he wants with the ball in his hands. So I just see a bright future for Lynn.
He's so much fun to watch. He's a great man to talk to, and his growth has been amazing. But one thing, no matter where he ends up, he's going to miss out on through no fault of his own, is that experience of being up there and shaking the commissioner's hand and the draft in person. Josh, what did that mean to you, given your growth through your youth, through the Kentucky program, and then being there on draft day to see the culmination and the jump-off point kind of in the same moment? How would you explain that to people who don't get that chance?
I mean, it definitely sucks for this year's draft class, but a lot of lives are going to be changed after this. But just that moment was just so surreal. Just thinking about the conversations that I had with Coach Stoops, just deciding if I wanted to leave or come back, and just making that, just putting that faith in myself and putting that confidence in myself that I can do that, and going out there and playing for my teammates. just all that in one moment, especially walking out there with my son, Wesley. It was just a moment that we will never forget, and a moment that we'll cherish for the rest of our lives. But just seeing that history, seeing people do that, what I'm saying, for years, the Khalil Macks, the Aaron Donalds, just guys like that, and now when you get your name called, it's definitely a surreal moment. It definitely didn't hit me until I got home, that that I joined the Jacksonville Jaguars and I was going to be part of that organization. It's definitely a blessing in disguise, and got a lot of work to do, but we really put that work in and become the teammate that they need me to be.
You can't control where you go. You can't control who picks you. But Josh, it seems like you ended up in the perfect spot because you ended up in a spot with a guy that you played next to, who was willing to mentor you through and teach you the game. And now Calais Campbell got traded off in the offseason. I know that you're going to miss having him around. But what did that mean as a first-year player to have somebody who was willing to take you under his wing?
I mean, Clay's been supportive to me since I got drafted. I talked to him on we did a video call the day of, as soon as I got drafted. So I knew he was really uh, going to try to take me under his wing. And then as soon as I got to Jacksonville, he was right there. Talked to him for a very long time. And then that's when the bond started to begin. And so once the season started, I told him what my goals were. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to outstep my boundaries. I'm here to be a great teammate. I'm here to win, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for a win. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be successful. I want you to be a Hall of Famer so you could talk about me in your speech. And all the other guys, I told them what I wanted to do for them more than what I wanted to do for myself. And he kind of really looked at that and kind of really respected that, and he really knew what type of player I was from that. And ever since then, man, till now, we talk, and he just educates me upon not even just football, but off the field, money situations, family situations, how to deal with personal life. So it's definitely great to have him in the locker room. Well, have him as a close friend of mine now, and also just when we were at the Pro Bowl, this is when I really realized he was like really OG. Like, like, soon as we got to the Pro Bowl, like he's like, Josh, I'm gonna take you up my wing. I'm gonna show you how everything goes. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, whatever. We walking around the whole all like the hotel room. Drew Brees, all them guys come up to him and just, what's up, OG? What's up, big dog? What's up? And I'm like, okay. And then like he's just a boss, and like he just taught me so much throughout life and how to carry himself and how to talk to people, how to get deals, and how to just how to do so much stuff outside of football. And it's just it's definitely a blessing in disguise that I had him with me. But he definitely taught me a lot, and definitely I get to pass on to people, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Hey,
This
hey,
was awesome,
Tom.
guys. Yeah, Coach.
Hey, here's an interesting tidbit, Josh. I don't know if I ever told you that. I think I did. But my last year at Miami, back with the Hurricanes, this is how long Calais has been playing. I recruited him to Miami, so I went into
Yeah, he did
recruiting.
tell me that.
Did he tell you that?
He said
Yeah.
he said you was good peoples. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
I'm
that.
surprised he remembers because I recruited him, got him committed, and then I took a job at Arizona to go to BDC with my brother Mike. So I went through the process, had him recruited, but actually left before signing day. But it was incredible recruiting him, and he was just like he is now, just a grown man, big dude and a great player right out of Denver, and I was always proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
he definitely
amazing
told me a lot.
how the interconnectivity. Hey, we could go on forever. I know you all got lives to live. I really appreciate everybody coming together and spending time with each other. But before we go, Coach, is there anything that you want to talk to those guys about, or anything that you want to mention specifically before we hang up?
Well, I just want to say thank you for doing this and putting this together. Thank you to Lonnie and Josh for doing it. Um, you know, it gives us an opportunity right now. I think we all are very driven and want to go on to the next venture, but it's fun to take a minute, step back, and just remember the great times that we had together. So thank you for doing this. These guys know that I love them, and I don't want anything but the best for them. So greatly appreciate them and our whole team that we had that year. That's a special group. They'll always have a special place in my heart and in the BBN. So thank you, Tom. Everybody stay safe, and greatly appreciate you all.
I'll
Love
give
you
you
too,
guys
Coach.
a chance to say something too. Lonnie, anything you got for wrap it up?
I mean, like he said, I thank y'all for having me on this, and thank Coach Stoops, for accepting me in Kentucky. Without him accepting me in Kentucky, I wouldn't be where I am today. Just thank Josh, for being a great teammate, great leader that he was. He helped drive me. Even though I was already driven, but he helped drive me a lot. That's my little big bro. But I'm gonna keep beating him as long as we in the league, and that's pretty much it.
Josh, you got to respond.
Okay, okay, okay. But I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's competition, man. We always gonna have this. As long as we play each other, we always gonna keep it. But he know where I'm at. He know how I'm coming. But I just want to say thank you for having me on as well. You know what I'm saying? You guys stay safe. Thank you, Tom, Coach Stoops. Tell the beautiful family I said what's up and stay safe.
Same.
Ronnie, dog. Tell my baby girl I said hey, Ayla, and tell Selena I said hey.
Got you, bro.
But
Awesome.
we're gonna be whooping y'all. I'm trying to tell you, but that's on another conversation though. That's on another conversation.
I'm so
Whatever, bro.
thankful you all took the time to join us. This was great. Speaking for everybody out there watching, I cannot wait to see all three of you back on a football field soon. And let's make sure everybody stays safe. Thanks for joining us. And thank you
Thank you.
for tuning in and watching this.